So we can have that avocado green toilet, the nautical shaped anchor lamp. This place was 2 miles east of Weirdsville.
I think I've been there.
He grabbed the wastebasket and yelled, "You boys need to get out of the trash can." The Formica dinette set and a roll of shag carpet.
How about diabetes sticks?
What are you, some kind of a health nut? Get him out of here. You'll never work again.
This is the Snaggletooth Rock and Roll Podcast.
I had to cut a sofa in half last week. Yeah. Someone who will remain nameless did not measure before they brought it here, much to our chagrin, and just kind of dumped it on us.
And the sofa broke trying to get it in.
And broke it getting it in. Yeah. So we were stuck with this albatross of a sofa that wouldn't fit into this room where we wanted it. So the only way to get it back out, because it's just me and Stace, was to cut it in half. And boy, I'll tell you what, I think I used every tool I have. I used my Sawzall. I used a bunch of my wrenches. I used my hammer quite profusely, and it put up quite a fight. I think that sofa was put together in 1956 or something. I mean,
and then we had to carry it out. It was all the metal inside, like with the lazy boy kickouts for everything.
Oh, God, it was terrible. Yeah, and I had all these extra bags full of like stuffing, and it felt like I was carrying a corpse out because it was all these bags of extra sofa. But we got it sawed in half and we got it out, and bulk pickup took the albatross away. Thank the dark Lord.
Yeah, it was pretty wild, everybody getting out their bulk stuff because I was amazed by the lawns that had nothing. I mean, you have nothing that you want to get rid of. In fact, you're only allowed 3 items.
So what, every 6 months or so, something like that?
Yeah, twice a year.
Yeah.
So I guess these people, really enjoy calling 1-800-GOT-JUNK to see if pointing at things really makes them disappear, or the hundreds that will soon disappear from their wallet because they are expensive.
1-800-GOT-JUNK?
Yeah. I had an old console TV that I rolled out onto my front porch years ago. I wanted them to take. And I was at work and they called and quoted me $250 to get rid of it. Yeah. I said, never mind. I'll get it to the dump myself. And, suddenly he said, you know what? We'll do it for $85. I said, okay, sold.
Oh, they give you the bulk dates way ahead of time so that people can drag their unwanted fainting couches and water beds out on the lawn for disposal. You can kind of judge people by what they're throwing away. Or, like she said, the people that don't throw things away are even more suspect. I guess there's some people that are just so organized they don't have any gossip tables or wicker gondolas to throw out.
I don't know.
They forgot.
I found myself walking the dog, and automatically, it's like human nature. You want to see what they're throwing out. And I always remember, that looks like a perfectly good toaster. And I thought, no, there's a reason it's out here.
Yes, we drove off to work that morning, and I saw so many empty lawns. I felt like we should have like several backup items for bulk trash next time. So we can have that avocado green toilet, the nautical shaped anchor lamp, the Formica dinette set, and a roll of shag carpet, and maybe even a rosewood cadenza just rolled out on standby to get rid of, and we can move it into position like ninjas onto John and Mildred's lawn the night before,
We may or may not have snuck one set of shelves onto our neighbor's lawn because we already had 3 items.
Shout out to Butch.
Yeah. He had nothing. I don't think he ever gets rid of anything.
No, I don't think so either. Yeah. So how would we reciprocate? These people, we took their bulk trash slot. I think that the best way would be I'd go to Denny's and the waitress would say, would you like a soda? And I would say, do I get free refills? And she would say, yes, you do. And I would say, well, give my free refills to the entire restaurant. And then they would cheer and probably carry me out on their shoulders.
I give away my free coffee refills.
And feel free to borrow my library card while you're at it. Okay, you want to talk about our feature interview?
We have a great one for you this week. Our feature interview this week is with Richard Lion, the guitarist and mainstay in the one and only Swedish goth metal powerhouse band Tenebre. Mm-hmm. We talk with Richard about the inception and history of Tenebre, as well as his metal crossover project Phlegma that is about to come out with new music. We discuss the entire history of Tenebre, what happened with their insane drummer Joel Linder, and eventually get into stories about Steve Sylvester of Death SS, Elvis impersonators, Hitler's art, the whole 9 yards. So stay tuned for that.
Okay, let's get this started. Lots of good music this week. This is Tenebre with No Love. Okay, let's talk about Patreon. The site is patreon.com/Snaggletooth Podcasts. It is crammed to the rafters with all kinds of additional bonus content, many pickle-related items, actually. How to fry satanic pickles, how to make refrigerator pickles. I've got a lot of music reviews up there that you don't see on this show. I just did a big thing on the tubes, White Punks on Dope, etc., etc.
You can check out how to make hash browns
Satanic hash browns.
via actual potatoes.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so easy. You'll never go back to frozen hash browns. They're so good.
Yep.
We had them this morning.
I have some I have some strange music that I'm going to review. I think I just got done reviewing the first Yoko Ono record. And anyway, all kinds of wacky hijinks that you can't get anywhere else over at Patreon. So definitely check us out over there. For $6.66 a month, you get more Mark and Stace than you can choke a camel with. Who wouldn't want that?
Less than you spend at Starbucks a month.
Yep. So it's time to talk about something that happened when I was a much younger professional, you could say. I had a boss named Joe Morgan. This piece is called Joe Morgan Bingo. He was a grizzled old sales manager. He was bent, gray, and old, and he loved to rant and rave about how easy we had it compared to the good old days when he would work 16 hours a day, get doors slammed in his face, get paint and water thrown on him, and he had to carry a bulletproof briefcase. I think he actually sold the shiny beads to the Native Americans at one point to exchange for Manhattan because he was old enough to. He may have been the one that actually owned a bridge that he could sell you cheap. Remember that phrase? He had the best phrases. Okay, we all hated him. He had best phrases like, he couldn't spell cat if you spotted him a C. This place was 2 miles east of Weirdsville.
I think I've been there.
And he was inappropriate to the ladies. He was that generation. We would make sexist comments, and he would like play with their hair and stuff.
Oh my God.
He was the kind of guy that would not be able to survive in today's environment with everybody having a camera on their hip, right? So every year we dreaded the marathon annual sales meeting he had to have. This is a logistics company, of course. It would be all the C-level executives would be there, and Joe would grandstand like nobody's business. He was on, telling ridiculous stories with fire and brimstone about how we all needed to belly up to the bar and none of us were working hard enough. And
how do you put your belly on the bar?
That's an AA phrase. Hashtag Rachel. Yeah. One time our head of finance gave a short presentation about, it said that some of our recent customers were not paying on time. And Joe became enraged at the caliber of customer we were attracting.
Wait, he was enraged?
He was enraged. He grabbed the wastebasket and yelled, "You boys need to get out of the trash can!" And doing so, he spilled discarded coffee cups and wrappers all over himself. So from then on, anytime we got like a bad Dun & Bradstreet report from finance, it was always, "Get out of the trash can!" Anyway, so that was just one incident. But anyway. So, like I said, it was the worst meeting of the year. And so one day, we were all really into fantasy football at the time. I was in like 4 leagues. All the guys were in multiple fantasy football leagues. And it just occurred to me as I was looking for my substitute kicker for my 4th team or whatever, that we could make a game out of the meeting. And what you see behind me is an example of what we came up with. This would be the perfect way to liven up the meeting. So we made bingo cards with point values and a few random Joe Morganisms. So here it is. I'll put up on the screen for you. Here's an example. I had a face like a Russian flag, 5 points. That milk was old enough to vote, 5 points. Telling unrealistic sales stories, 10 points. Mentioning his son, which he did at every sales call. He was a Chippendale, but he wasn't gay. He's the only non-gay Chippendale. He would go out of his way to say this. touching one of the females inappropriately. 10 or 15 points for that one. What's buzzin' cousin? 5 points.
Wow.
She had a figure that made me crave melons. Who says that? 10 points. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, 5 points. And physician heal thyself, 5 points. That's not even a phrase. That was something he used to say.
It is a phrase.
Is it physician heal thyself?
Yeah.
It was for Joe. So anyway, we decided that we would all have our cards in front of us throughout the entire meeting. And at the end, whoever had the lowest number of points had to pay for the bar bill that night. So we were well motivated. Now, again, in the spirit of competition, the first half of the meeting, you could just quietly rack up points when he would say shit, right? And just hashtag, you know. But in the second half of the meeting, we thought it would raise the stakes. You could play offense, which meant that you could try to bait him into saying these things. And I had no problem doing it. Joe, I think it would be helpful if you could share some of your classic sales stories from the old days.
No.
You hear groans from everyone, and then he'd turn his back, and I get hit with balls of paper from everybody. But you know what? You got to play the game. Joe, isn't one of your sons a dancer? Why, he's a Chippendale, but he's not gay at all. Cha-ching, 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 you know. So booze all around, you know.
And he sparkles and he shines.
That's right. He rides a tractor. I will say also, one thing that was funny that I did not come up with this at the meeting, we had to wear ties, right? And when Joe would go on for too long, I remember one time I looked around and the owner had taken his tie and thrown it over his shoulder. And his brother, who was also the owner, thrown over the shoulder. And I looked, our head of pricing, tie over the shoulder. So then after the meeting was over, I would say, what was with the ties? And he goes, oh, we hung ourselves. That's what we do. When Joe goes on too long, we just throw that over. That's just, we're hung. Yeah. So this has been Joe Morgan Bingo. So let's play a Tenebre song. Why don't you introduce it?
Names may have been changed to protect the non-innocent.
Protect the politically incorrect. Yeah.
All right. So we are back to one of our favorites, Tenebre. This is Scarecrow.
Okay, it's time for bastard songs. This week I put together a sort of a sequel to one of my favorite replacement songs, Goddamn Job. It's a very simple song. Basically, he just says, I need a goddamn job. I need a goddamn girl. Goddamn it right now. But I thought, you know what? Things have changed a bit. There may be some things that we need that are just a little bit more soft and genteel in 2023, you know.
Creature Comforts has
yes. So here it is, Mark's version of Goddamn Job.
I need a goddamn florist. I need a goddamn florist. My begonias are appalling. I need a goddamn florist. God damn it. God damn it. God damn. I need a goddamn florist. I need some goddamn scones. I need some goddamn scones. Dairy free if you can get it. I need some goddamn scones. God damn it. God damn it. God damn. I need some goddamn scones. I need a goddamn rolls. I need a goddamn rolls. The Volvo is so pretentious. I need a goddamn rolls, oh god damn it. God damn it. God damn. I need a goddamn rolls.
Ah, yes, another first. Needing a goddamn astrologer. I think that's important. Yeah. Okay, there are 3 powerhouse snack food companies, likely at constant war with each other, I would imagine. One, Tasty Cake Products, started in 1914 out of the Philadelphia Naval Yard of all places. Krimpets, candy cakes, pies, etc.
Little Debbie.
Yes.
Started in 1928 in Chattanooga, Tennessee. They go under the moniker Little Debbie, but they're actually McKee Foods.
Yep.
They make little nifty weirdnesses, little sweet weirdnesses like unicorn cakes. Swiss cake rolls, and cosmic brownies.
Many of which all taste the same. Then you have Hostess, started in 1900 as the Ward Baking out of Brooklyn. Twinkies, Ding Dong, Snowballs, we all have had them. So do you think there are people that have worked for all three companies? Like the dude that came up with the Devil Dog design, jumped ship to get a bonus over at Hostess, and he came up with baby buns.
Yeah, I don't know if there's a whole lot of non-compete clause in snack food. I mean, maybe.
Could be. Imagine the boardroom discussions. All right, Stevenson, we can't call them candy cakes like we wanted. The tasty folks already patented that. What do you got?
How about diabetes sticks?
What are you, some kind of a health nut? Get him out of here. You'll never work again. How about yummy tummy cake, sir? What is this, romper room? Somebody help me.
How about get in my belly bars?
Now we're talking, Ziegler. Getting better, getting better. How about fancy cakes? Ooh, I like it. Go with it, Stevens. All right, as you see behind us, I'll put the graphic up. The day that Tasty Cake come up with a Krimpet, it must have been like the 2001 scene with the apes. The bum 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 bum.
I know they were probably all going nuts. They're like, oh my God, Tasty Cake did not pull butterscotch out of their butt.
And at Tasty Cake, they're just like, we'll never be able to top this. What are we going to do next? Pull yourself together, Williams. This is our Sistine Chapel.
There must have been sobs and knowing that you're never going to climb that mountain.
Meanwhile, back at Little Debbie headquarters, we got another letter, Mr. Richards. They're saying that birthday cakes and zebra cakes are the same thing. Those morons, the birthday cakes have festive sprinkles on them. Get out of my office. Turn the zebra cake into a donut just to fuck with them.
Which they did.
Yeah.
But I can imagine the complaints, people saying that they haven't come up with anything innovative since the Swiss cake rolls.
Yeah, that's right. And I still am paying for that trip to Sweden where I got the idea. Maybe I could just unroll them and stick two of them together and call it a Swiss sandwich. Wait, that would be too confusing without Swiss cheese, I think. Oh, I'm never going to top it.
When it seemed Little Debbie was going to have to go back to prostitution, the bleary-eyed execs came up with their own line of ice cream.
Yeah, so for every Little Debbie product, there is now ice cream. And it's exactly, I don't know how they did it. They have honey buns flavored ice cream, fudge rounds ice cream, apple fruit pie ice cream.
Birthday ice cream.
I would imagine the execs over at Hostess and Tasty Cakes called an emergency board meeting. Several R&D guys probably got pitched out the window then, In the end, Tasty Cake decided to get in bed with Weiss cream as a collaboration. So they have peanut butter candy cake flavored Weiss cream. Interesting.
Well, I guess they decided they couldn't do it all on their own.
Well, this has been the Snack Food Wars with Mark and Stace. Why don't you introduce the next song?
Going back to Tenebre, this is Demon.
Okay, let's talk about Imperfect Foods.
So we've talked about Imperfect before. They are a grocery service that ships products directly to your door. You can shop every week. You can shop every other week. But the bottom line with this company is you are getting a lot of foods that are either overstock and would have gone to waste or have slight imperfections and would not have seen the market. So you are helping save the planet as well as getting delicious foods brought to your door. So you might ask me, well, what can I get from Imperfect? Well, I have some show and tell to show you.
All right.
I was sure if the dog was going to be down here and outside. I put it before.
It's weird that he's not down here.
Apples. Look at these lovely apples that we got from Imperfect.
Good God, man, they're huge.
They will tell you in the notes about what's unusual about the produce, if it's larger, smaller, blemishes. But apparently these wouldn't have made it to market, but we're going to make good
She had a figure that made me crave apples.
All right. They have great meats, too, that are already seasoned. This is peri peri chicken.
Yum.
So you
Get in my belly bars.
All you got to do is put this on a cookie sheet and cook it up. More produce here. Grapes that we got from Imperfect. I don't know what was wrong with these. If they were just overstock. They seem fine to me. But we got them. You can get them as well. You need pantry staples. They have their own brand of butter.
Nice.
And you'll find all this stuff very reasonably. Just ground beef. This is 100% grass-fed ground beef. Comes packaged, all cryogenically sealed, so it can go right in your freezer, and then you can make burgers or chili or whatever you want to make with ground beef. They also have meat alternatives if you're in the vegan sort of thing. And then they have all kinds of sauces. This is our street corn queso.
Why didn't we eat that?
I don't know. And we also have salsa viva. So
I went
lots of
crazy on horseradish mustard last night and didn't even know we had that. Okay.
So we have lots of great products over there at Imperfect. They can be delivered to your door. Pick out your own stuff. Use our link. It will save you $20 off your first order. Anything over 60 ships for free.
Your butter's showing. Very good. Okay.
Oh.
Good collectorbation this week. This week we are featuring one of my favorite records ever. From 1981, it's Riot's Fire Down Under. I will club a baby seal to get a better deal. Anyway, so the name comes from the old Honeymooners TV show, a group of New York kids that came together through neighborhood block parties. Some producer's girlfriend thought of the baby seal, of all things, would be the perfect mascot, fighting back from decades of poaching and clubbing. Thus, Riot was born, the ultimate underground band, and the name that would become synonymous with quality metal and constant war with record labels.
The Guy Speranza era of the band was arguably the band's finest era. His massive vocals and songwriting prowess were key to Riot's first 3 records. Their 1977 debut, Rock City, was a fiery, metallic nugget, totally ahead of its time.
So they caught the attention of Capitol Records, who were apparently looking for a hot young band to provide a spark on Sammy Hagar's UK tour. They signed the band and released a second record, Narita, in 1979. It was a bad contract, and the band was forced to record the album in a studio known for radio jingles. But considering all this adversity, creating an album as solid as Narita is nothing short of a miracle. The juxtaposition of Speranza's vocal and Mark Rial's licks align the planets of the Riot sound in cuts like Hot for Love and Road Racing. It's as distinctive as Di'Anno and Murray Smith or Linnet and Gorham Robertson. Of course, as soon as the tour ended with Hagar, Capitol dropped the band and didn't let them out of their contract. So they were kind of frozen, couldn't do anything.
The band recorded Fire Down Under at a time when they had picked up significant songwriting chops from playing live in front of big crowds, and it comes through on this record in spades. The band were featured in some British rock magazines and explained their contract situation. The UK fans were so rabid, they petitioned, and the fans in California eventually started spray painting Riot's logo on the Capitol Records building.
You can't make this shit up.
Eventually, between the pressure from EMI and UK, the fans picketing outside, Capitol released the band, and Fire Down Under came out on Elektra shortly thereafter.
Okay, we're going to play a song. I want you to listen to the fire coming off the guitars. Listen to the razor-sharp songcraft in this song. It is one of the greatest ever. This is Outlaw. Okay, continuing on with Fire Down Under. So the album was doing well. It entered the Billboard Top 100, and they got a cherry slot opening up for Rush on the Moving Pictures tour. That was when Guy Speranza decided he wasn't enjoying it. He was getting burned out. He didn't like his live performances. He wanted to get married and settle down. Such a shame because the band never really recovered from Speranza leaving. And while they did persevere throughout the next few decades, they never topped Fire Down Under, in my opinion. It's an album that sits alongside Van Halen 1, The First Wasp, Dio Holy Diver. I mean, top shelf stuff.
The singer they added for the next album, Born in America, was a guy named Rhett Forrester, who had a little more of a stone ground bluesy rock sound, sort of like a Whitesnake, Bad Company, lots more slow songs, etc. He was a better live presence than Guy, but nowhere near the songwriter. They went on to do albums that were admittedly good, but nothing like Fire Down Under.
Trivia. Scott Ian from Anthrax actually reached out to Guy years later because they were from the same borough. Wanted him to sing for Anthrax, but he turned him down. There's a 3-part documentary on the band called Fight or Fall. I highly recommend. It's very well done. Check it out. It's on YouTube. Tons of interviews with members and former members. King Foley is on it. Lips from Anvil. Their sort of Bengali producer, Steve Loeb, he just breaks your heart talking about how much money he sunk in to the band, trying desperately to break them, but he never could. So let's introduce the song.
This is Swords and Tequila.
Okay, I guess it's time to introduce the interview.
This is our interview with Richard of Tenebre. We really enjoyed talking about Tenebre and his ongoing project, which is about Phlegma, which is about to come out with new music.
Yep.
Lots of interesting things. He's been in a lot of interesting projects, has a lot of great stories. So take it away with our interview.
Can you tell me a little bit about how did Tenebre form out of the original Phlegma lineup?
Yeah, it was like we did a demo in 95, and it was like I made 2 or 3 songs or something like that, and then we rehearsed, and we had like 4 more songs, and the guitarist in the band wanted to continue this more complex thrash sound that we had in Phlegma, but well, my songs were a bit more kind of dancing and more easier approach, more rock and roll. So it kind of I just felt, no, it's time to stop this train and do something else. So I took the singer and we started up Tenebre, or however you want to say.
The first album had 3 guitar players. It had one of the guitar players from Phlegma on it, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we got we had Lukas in the band, but he didn't play on the album because Martin from Phlegma, I asked him to help us out. So he did a guitar thing, but he didn't want to be in the band. So that's kind of yeah, but that was totally between us. I mean, he just didn't want to come. He wanted to study, so he didn't want to be in a band.
Yeah, I love the name, despite AI pronouncing it wrong. But there, if you Google it, so many things come up. A lot of bands. Why did you pick that particular name? Although I like it.
Well, I really don't know, but I have a book. First of all, I'm half Italian, so I know some Italian, and I have a book on black magic and stuff like that. So there's a chapter called the Lords of the Darkness or something like that, and darkness is tenebre in Italian. So yeah, I just thought that would be okay name for a band playing dark music. So that's it.
Well, that makes sense. I didn't know the Italian connection.
The song "No Wrong" is an interesting choice on the 13 album. It's a Charles Manson song.
Yeah.
How did you choose that one? And then who are the backup? The soul? What is it? Sob Sisters?
Sob Sister, yeah. I think it was the singer who had some sort of bootleg album with the Charles Manson, and suddenly we were having a party and drinking, and the record was on, and it was like I just told the singer we could do something of this. It's like it could be a Tenebre song, no problem. So that's nothing political or politically correct. I think it's
right.
The opposite, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, he actually had quite a foray into the music industry for a while before he completely went off the rails. So I think he had a bit of genius there, but he just, he misapplied his genius to the evil side. So that's what happened there, I think.
Something like that, yeah.
A lot of these dictators and serial killers and stuff, you wonder if anyone had been a little kinder to their art, maybe things would have turned out differently. Like maybe if more people had said, you know what, those songs are not bad, Charles Manson, maybe he would have taken a different path. Or maybe if someone had said to Hitler, maybe, hey, your sculpture's not bad, your art's pretty good, you know, things might have changed, you know.
I've seen paintings from Hitler that are really, really nice, but I mean, yeah, it shows a different path.
Yeah, I guess, yeah. Well, I wanted to ask you also, one of the things I like the most about Grimride is Joe Linder's drumming. He was such a powerful drummer, and just the way he, just the double bass and the cowbell, it just really pushes the energy level of those records. What happened with him? Like, how did you come to work with him, and how come he didn't stick around?
Well, we had this kind of agreement that we were supposed to rehearse once or twice a week or something like that. And Mr. Joel, he felt that he was a kind of professional and he didn't have to rehearse.
Okay. Yeah.
So I told him, like, either we rehearse or you quit the band. So he quit the band because in my world, you rehearse to get tight and do your stuff, because otherwise you will end up on stage and doing mistakes more than usual, so to say. But no, he didn't want to rehearse, so that was the reason.
Understood. Yeah.
When the debut album 13, it has 3 guitarists, including Martin from Phlegma. How did you go about balancing out 3 guitars in the sound and the mix?
I'm not 100% sure, but I don't think there are 3 guitarists on the actual recording. There are 3 guitarists on how to say on the lineup.
Yeah,
listed, yeah. But I think it was Frederick and Martin who recorded guitars, and Lucas is listed as guitarist even though he doesn't play.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. So
what a lot of what prompted us to reach out is I always wanted to do a thing on the show about Tenebre, but the first 2 albums weren't on Spotify for the longest time, and I finally discovered that they are. How did that happen? How come they just recently? It had to be within the last 6 months or so. Hit Spotify.
I had not the first albums because they're on Record Heaven label, so those we have to put out ourselves. But then we have the other 3 albums, which is on Regain Records, and I had a kind of argument with a guy from Regain, Pal, and they were on Spotify, but he took them down. So, but we're friends now, so it's all up to, I guess, me to put up the $200 or whatever it costs us to get them up there.
It'd be great to hear the other stuff on Spotify too, you know.
Yeah, I know. I had this discussion with Michael from Funhouse because he's very much involved in the last album we did. But yeah, I have to take my $200 and say, here, take my money.
Yeah.
So,
Whenever something's not on Spotify, I always assume there's some kind of a disagreement on legal rights or something, you know.
Yeah, but not really. It's like Per, who runs Regain Records, he has probably the rights to the album, but I don't think he cares that much. So it's up to me to just put it out. But I rather buy wine.
We agree. Yes,
we wholeheartedly.
I can understand. Yeah. It's all this back and forth of fighting over rights so that no one can get paid, because no one gets paid on streaming. That's the funny thing about it, you know.
It's no money.
There's no money. Oh, it's the world we live in. So Record Heaven. Did you run Record Heaven, or you just worked there, or how did that go?
No, I didn't run it. I worked there with this guy called Michael, who owned it back then. So he kind of he bought the Sweden Rock Festival, and he made a lot of money off that, and he sold that festival, or at least his share of it, and moved to Malta. So that guy is a rich guy. And another guy who worked with me at Record Heaven, Johnny, he bought the stock and took over the name. So today it's owned by ex-employee. But
Well, you ought to get
No.
a cut of that. Metal Archives has you as running it.
yeah, but that's not correct. I didn't run it. I worked there. I was the, so to say, I stood in the shop, so I was the face. People recognized me from the shop. So, but not my shop.
So I enjoyed the tagline you have with the International Music Group. Where did that tag come from?
We stole it, of course, like everything else, from an Italian band. I think it was Giacola or Antonius Rex who called themselves International Magic Group, and I think it sounded so perfect because
Sounds like a good idea.
the drummer was half Hungarian. I was half Italian, singer was half German, and it was like, okay, we're an international magic group.
Yeah, I always wanted to ask you about the covers. Were so cool. I mean, the girl with the wings on 13, and then the nun on Grimride, and then Electric Hellfire. How did you find such incredible artwork for your albums and these models and stuff?
Well, the first album is I found it in a book, and we contacted those who made the actual book. I don't know what you call it, printer or whatever, and we paid for it. And then we got in contact with an artist, and he already promised that picture to someone else, but since we paid for it, we got to use it. The second Grimride, I think it's horrible, but it didn't turn out the way I wanted to, because in my mind, I had this kind of Blue Eyes the Cult live album with a car, and instead of a car, it was a hearse. Right. And some nude ladies or something like that. Okay. And it turned out this way, and it was like, well, anyway. So, third album, which is Mark of the Beast, I guess. Yeah. I think it's from a porn movie or something like that.
Oh, okay.
So the guy who did the layout on Regain, he took a cover from a porn movie and extended the tongue a bit, and kind of, yeah. So,
whether you liked it or not, he loves it. In fact, he was trying to see if he could buy it online for our wall.
Yeah, I've always wanted to get a print of one of your album covers, whether it's Grimride or the first one or Electric Hellfire or whatever, because they're just such cool artwork. You know?
I think I have a poster from Heart's Blood, but it's not the cover. It's kind of a painting from a French tattoo artist. We did a poster for it.
Gotcha. I mean, did you have like posters made for like the albums that were out like on the record stores and stuff that they all sold, or what?
We have a poster for 13.
Okay, 13.
Not Grimride. There's a poster for Mark of the Beast. And Yeah, I can send you some stuff, but
That'd be great.
Grimoire, no,
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, we let me know what it costs. You know, we'd be happy to pay for it too. Yeah,
it's no problem. I can send you.
I know you need wine money. I mean, you know.
So your later albums of Tenebre didn't seem quite as full throttle as the earlier ones. It almost sounds, and it's still good, but it almost shifts into like you guys sound more like the Cult. Was that a conscious decision, or was it due to lineup changes, or just a natural evolution?
I don't know, but at the same time as I was playing in both Phlegma and Tenebre, I was playing in Funhouse, which is goth, and I got kind of bored with playing metal, and it was like suddenly I was a shift towards more gothic stuff.
Yeah.
And I know Kalle, the singer, didn't like it, so he kind of quit. And we got Victor from Dawn of Oblivion, which was a goth band on Electric Hellfire Kiss, but he had his own goth band, so he wanted to play metal. So it was like that record, and then it was like, no. So I don't know, it was a decision, but I think it was more like not repeating the same album again and again. So I wanted to make more, I don't know, and not softer music, but darker or more gothic. So it kind of changed. It just happens.
What was it like to work with was it Steve Silvestro and Tombolo Voodoo Master from Death SS? How did that go?
That was a really strange experience. They came to my hometown Malmö, and we picked them up, and they stayed in a hotel. But we went out in one of, let's say Friday or whatever, and it was like the largest place in Malmö had this Elvis impersonator playing. And we're not talking about a regular Elvis impersonator. This guy is sick. I mean, literally sick. So he's kind of a retarded guy playing Elvis. And we went there with Death SS.
Okay,
and
right.
And Niflheim, who, I don't know, I know Paolo from Halmstad, who runs the record label. He came down with the Niflheim guys. So we were first partying at my place, and then we went to see this Elvis impersonator.
Okay.
So it was kind of surreal, the whole thing. And when we were in studio, I don't know if it was the drummer or keyboardist who was with us, except for Steve. Not that he played on the album or anything, but he was there. So in the studio, he was like unpacking his stuff and dropping ecstasy during we're sitting there in the studio, like 12 o'clock, middle of the day.
Middle of the day.
And it's like, okay. But yeah.
The song turned out great though. Yeah.
What stage Elvis impersonator was? Sometimes they have the younger one, and sometimes they have the older jumpsuit one.
This is the jumpsuit one.
It was a jump. Okay.
It's called A Lot. I can send you a link.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, Death SS, strangest band. I mean, a lot of those Italian metal bands, so strange, like in a good way, but very odd, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Italy is not known for any big. I mean, yeah, Rhapsody is probably big, but
yeah,
the rest is like cult bands.
Yeah, we
kind of
interviewed we interviewed this Italian singer, and we were racking our brains trying to think of, because there was like no Bon Jovi in it from Italy or anything like that. You know, it was like Lacuna Coil is probably the biggest band.
yeah.
Yeah, but it's cool. There's so much
Yeah.
good underground stuff from Italy. Yeah.
Yeah, we interviewed Herma from Sick and Beautiful, and they're really good, but they've all got like she's got the costumes and their own special effects company, and you know, they're always green and
Yeah. They're always green. Yeah, exactly.
it's wild. You know, it always seems a little gimmicky, but it works. I mean, if you're a visual band, it works.
So
Yeah.
the new Phlegma stuff that you sent, I listened to it. I loved it. It's
Really
so
good. It's really
very
good.
dischargy, but with great leads, lots of cool guitar leads. Like, so what Phlegma was on hold for a while and now it's back, or what's the story with that?
Yeah, it's kind of, the thing is to make in 2019. I think one of my friends, Johnny, who runs Record Heaven, he asked me, "Do you want me to put up your CDs on Spotify?" And I just said, "Go ahead, just do it." And he did, because I mean, most of the songs I've written, the most songs, so I just do it. Then came a guitarist, and he said, "Who asked me?" Nobody. But I mean, we're talking about kebab money. It's like we're gonna earn $5 a year on this.
Right.
So
Exactly right.
why are you complaining?
Right.
Nobody asked me. So there was a big discussion, and he pulled down the record, and I have to phone the old drummer and singer and whatever, and speak to them and say, you know, this guy is completely insane.
Right.
So we started to talk, and we kind of started to rehearse, and then one thing led to another, and suddenly we were playing again.
That's cool. So the Spotify thing kind of turned into a good thing, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of bizarre because his stupid action made us kind of get together again.
Yeah.
Because you came together for that live recording in 2022, so I'm sure maybe that is the catalyst that kind of pushed it, like this is still a good thing.
Yeah, yeah. We started with the intention of making an album and one gig. So, because the singer was, I'd say, he was kind of into just doing one gig and one album. So we did the gig in Malmo, and now he's not the I mean, he's put down the tracks for the songs, but he's not interested in doing any more gigs. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah, it's some really good stuff you have there.
I think it's like a continuation of what we did before, and what I did with the Wolf's Blood is like, it's discharge, it's kind of Venom. It's simple songs, but yeah.
Yeah, the difference I think is those ripping solos, you know, because
the guitar works great.
Yeah, really good.
It's Lucas, the guitarist on the first listed on the first Tenebre album that didn't play, but he plays on Grimride. But it's Lucas. He's really great. He's phenomenal. He did all the solos in like, I don't know, 3 hours, something like that. He was just sitting down, doing solos, and it's like, yeah.
Wow. Inside that picture inside Grimride that's Dee Snider, right?
Yeah.
How did he come to be in the picture with you guys? I mean, I remember him talking up. I remember him talking up the album because he was like the only other American that I ever bumped into that seemed to know who you guys were. There's got to be a story there.
Yeah, there's a story, but he played in Sweden with call them SMF or something like that.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't to his sister, but they call themselves SMF. So they played, or we played, Malmö and two more places, I think. We were opening up for them.
Okay.
So, we met and we took a picture. Yeah. He's a really, really nice guy.
Yeah, he really liked you guys. Yeah, I remember. Because he went on a blog or something and talked about how great you guys were.
Yeah. Seriously?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess with all like the ins and outs, Metal Archives is so confused about they have Tenebre listed as status unknown.
Yeah. So is the band still a thing, or is it broken up, or what's the status of Tenebre?
No, we're not active, because when we did the last album, we got a gig. I remember we got the Wave Gothic Treff. I don't know if you know about that, because it's in Europe, but it's the largest Gothic meeting in Europe once a year in Germany. So we got the gig, but I had to cancel it because my then wife, she was kind of so, I don't, what's the word? Jealous or something. So I couldn't go by myself and the band. She was supposed to come with us.
Right.
And the other members were like, what are you talking about? So I just canceled it. And then, no, nothing. So since 2005, there is no Tenebre.
That reminds me of Lemmy's book. In Lemmy's book, he talks about they took Tank on the road in like 1981. And he just says so casually, he says, and I knew it was going to be a disaster because they brought their wives with them. And the wives always ruin everything. He was so smart. He knew everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. That reminds me of that a little bit. Yeah.
I don't mind if someone's girlfriend comes along in a separate car, right, or whatever. That doesn't affect anything, but you don't bring your girlfriends in the bus.
Right. Right. And he says, like, because as soon as they get you away, they're whispering in your ear, you know, the rest of them would be nothing without you. It just creates problems. You should be getting more credit. You know, that sort of thing. Again, Lemmy, that's why Lemmy's our Lord and Savior, right? He knows it all, you know. I wanted to ask you about the band Funhouse. What's your involvement with them? I saw you played with some albums with them, I believe.
Yeah. Yeah, I played with Funhouse from 95 to 98, I think. And we made an album in 96, and then me and Michael kind of fell out, you know, really bad thing. But I mean, yeah, some years later we collaborate again. So I mean, I'm not that kind of person that kind of gets stuck in a one way thing. Yeah. Michael and me were really, really bad, but I think time changes things, so it worked out. So he helped me with Heart's Blood, and then now 2019, when Michael started up Funhouse again, I said, yeah, it's okay, I can play bass, no problem. So we made a new album, which will be out either it's already done, but Michael is always tweaking something. So may,
Understand.
maybe this year or next year. I don't know.
Yeah. That's funny. I used to work with these women that had been angry at each other, hadn't spoken for 12 years, and they came to work every day. And I just remember thinking, I couldn't do it. I couldn't stay angry every day like
It's a lot of
that.
wasted energy.
It's just exhausting.
Yeah, exactly. And
Yeah.
I mean, I had good reasons to be mad at Michael. And yeah, fine, but 7 years later, so who gives a fuck?
Exactly. Who cares, right? I know. Let it go.
You've played both guitar and bass. Do you have a favorite?
I mean, a favorite guitarist or bass player?
I mean, do you prefer doing one or the
Yeah,
other?
do you like doing bass or guitar better?
Yeah, I don't know. I think I have I think I have a special way of playing bass, which is more special than me playing guitar because I'm not that good at playing guitar, but playing bass is probably the thing I'm better at. So
You have a favorite bass guitar that you have that is you would reach for more than others?
yeah, I used to say, the standard one. I like Gene Simmons and whatever, but nah, I don't know. I like the groove. When people can have a groove, and they then don't necessarily have to be that technically good, but they play something that kind of like Gene Simmons actually plays something that contributes to the song, and
Right.
I think that's better than playing technical.
That's awesome. All right, so we play a little game on our show. It's called 5 Random Questions with Stace. That's me.
Yeah.
So I have 100 questions in front of me, but you're going to pick 5 numbers, which will correspond to 5 questions you will answer.
Okay.
All right.
So I'm just picking a number between 1 and 100.
Yeah, 5 numbers.
5 numbers. Yeah.
5. Okay. 17.
Go ahead. Just go pick 5 numbers. Yeah.
5 numbers. Okay. 17, 21, 55, 77, 99.
Okay.
We're very lucky. We recently redid these because they get crazy after a while. Number 17. Are you good at trivia contests?
Yeah, I think so. I'm pretty good at stuff. Yeah.
I have so much useless knowledge. I can't remember what I did yesterday, Yeah.
Or your computer password.
Exactly. Right.
Sit down Monday morning at work. Go, 21. Name a song that brings back great memories for you.
Great memories. It has to be a Kiss song, I guess. So I say Detroit Rock City.
Oh, that's a good one, yeah.
Oh, I love that
Oh,
one.
yeah.
I always thought they got a little resurgence. I don't know if you watched the Netflix series with the superheroes. Why am I drawing a blank?
Oh, the boys?
No.
Mhm.
No. The Umbrella Academy.
Oh, yeah.
They have this great fight scene to I Was Made for Loving You. I was dying.
Yeah.
You never thought of me in a fight scene, but it is.
Yeah. That's right. That's it. Yeah.
All right. Back to your questions. Number 55. Name a person you would love to see in the audience at your show.
I think James Hetfield, I would say.
That's great. Yeah. He's easy to spot because he's so tall.
Okay. 77 is, how do you hang your toilet paper, over or under?
Over.
Over. No hesitation.
I
there.
know, I would be like, I have to go look.
Uh,
99, how would your parents describe your personality?
That's well, my father, he had a, what do you call it, cerebral hemorrhage.
Okay.
Yeah, in '84. So he was kind of out of the game when I was 16. And I don't know, he was Italian. He would probably describe me as a failure.
oh, gee.
And my mother, she was from Sweden, but she didn't like me at all. So she would describe me as a total failure.
Oh, gee. Well,
I know someone who can relate.
well, well, you certainly had fans over here in America. That's for sure. I must have played Grim Ride for everyone I worked with in 1998. I was like, God, I hear this stuff. It's so heavy and it's so rock and roll. Anyway, and I've never heard anything like it. I've been collecting music my entire life, and nothing sounds like the first two Tenebre albums. I mean, later you guys got more of a like Stace said, kind of a cult Danzig kind of vibe. But those first two records, there's nothing.
Well, I'm really
Thanks.
excited with the stuff that you sent us the files on, though. That is really good
Yeah.
stuff. So I can't wait for that to come
Now,
out.
they're demos, or they're finished, or what you sent me, is that in progress?
It's we send it off to be mixed and mastered,
Okay.
but the drums in particular will be, I think they will be changed to some other, I don't know what you call it. In the studio, you can actually replace drum sounds with
Okay.
another drum sound. So
So
everything
Baby
will
Trap or
be-
something? Yeah.
it would be beefed up and
Gotcha.
a lot. So it's just you can call it a demo, but that's
Do you have
I'm
tour
kind
plans
of-
for? Do you have some tour plans for Phlegma or anything like that coming up, or what's coming up for you?
we will release it on vinyl, and hopefully we can convince the singer to play at least 1 or 2 gigs or whatever. I hope so.
Yeah.
Because I feel it's like we're doing an album. I feel it's great. Well, yeah. So we have to see. That's my plan.
I definitely think it's worth pursuing. I was like extremely happy with everything, and
Yeah, this new songs sound great.
yeah, rocking out to that. So if you could put yourself on a tour, like money's no object, what bands would you put Phlegma with? Like 3 or 4 bands that you could go, whether they are existing or existed in the past. What would your fantasy lineup be?
Well, I love Venom. So Venom would be one of the bands, of course, and Misfits. So that's it. Venom and Misfits.
Venom, Misfits, and Phlegma. Would you headline?
No, no. I think we will be playing in the lobby.
Yeah.
But that's that. I mean, it's kind of the bands that I really appreciate.
That's awesome. Well, we look forward to more from you. And if you ever feel the need to come over to the United States, you have to hit Baltimore. That's where we are.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We just got done watching the Ravens. They're in London right now. They tried to lose the game, but we won. The Baltimore Ravens.
Well, thank you for doing this. This was great. It was great to finally catch up, and I had so many questions. Thank you.
Thank you for making this possible.
falling on deaf ears.
Okay. Deaf Ears 1 is Within Temptation's new album, Bleed Out.
I get the impression that way back in 1996, someone told this Dutch band to go big or go home. They promptly turned in their house keys and never looked back. Within Temptation has been honing its craft for over 27 years, and with their 8th studio album, Bleed Out, they are obvious masters of their symphonic metal craft. Each of these 11 tracks alternates to epic keyboard orchestral movements, descending into the prominent heavy drums and guitar, and back again. The drums, lead guitar, rhythm guitar are rarely separated, but come layered together, the salt and pepper of this mix. The drumming of Mike Coolin descends in big and takes over the listener's heartbeat. Many tracks have an epic feel of sound and movement, bringing to mind a sweeping aerial shot rushing over a vast landscape. At the helm is the lovely Sharon Denadell, writing most of the lyrics and providing goosebump-inducing vocals. Her styling is melodic, floaty, and strong all at once, bringing the drama edged with emotion.
11 tracks, mainly exploring slow to mid-tempo, reveal their charm slowly. With song titles like The Purge, Shed My Skin, and Cyanide Love, there's no need to rush through this complicated and dark subject matter. The keyboards of Martin Spierenberg vary between icy, haunting melody to become nearly sprightly in other tracks. Wireless starts with grandiloquent. That's a good one. Wireless starts with grandiloquent keyboards, with the punch of drums and guitar just a heartbeat away. Sharon, true to the genre, Sharon proclaims, smooth as silk, you never cared for us, just our halo, our bloody halo. Every song is true to the genre while offering Within Temptation's instantly recognizable idiosyncrasies. Entertain You is a track that borders on groovy, with some male vocals taking turns with Sharon. Worth Dying For offers a vast orchestral feel without sacrificing the heavy. It also features the only guitar solo on the album, while In Ritual incorporates a chanting choir as an eerie addition.
The standout track that really swirls around in my cerebellum is Bleed Out. There are more hooks here than at a crocheting convention. The echoey synths and the metal edge of the drums and guitar take turns carrying the listener along on this roller coaster ride. Sharon gives a command performance as always. The lyrics are dark and poetic as Sharon casts her entrancing spell. Her fear has died, her heart is still unbroken. There's a voice inside of me getting louder, breaking free. She bleeds out. Their live shows bring the noise as well, with huge gothic stage sets, pyrotechnics, and Sharon dressed for the ball, slaying the crowd and leaving them cheering and breathless. Evanescence, Lacuna Coil, and Beyond the Black fans can level up Within Temptation. New fans are sure to delight in this dark, pompy metal blend, while taking a cue from this powerhouse band. They just may never look back.
Let's play a song. This is Bleed Out. Okay, Deaf Ears 2 is Blood Command, World Domination. Album number 5 from this Norwegian death punk 5-piece boldly proclaims their lofty goal in its title. World Domination is 20 songs in 36 minutes, with quite a few at or below the 1-minute mark, and plenty of squalling guitar and chest-thumping bass lines. There's a definite Payback's a Bitch metal finger vibe to the record, driven by the Iron Gang rhythm section of Yngve Anderson and drummer Sigurd Hakas, with the yappy vocals of Nicky Bruman, the band's third singer since forming in 2008, buzzing between the hard-shouted gang choruses. Much too venomous to call it pop punk, but there are plenty of melodic elements woven into the mix to keep things interesting.
The Batman style bass line kicks off "Hate Us 'Cause They Ain't Us" before slamming into the high-speed hardcore fury of "Keep My Seat Warm." It's hard to resist the metallic groove of The Plague on Both Your Houses. Broom and squeaking. Like Joan, you burned me like a witch. Now you're running like a little bitch. The Western-style horns that arise at the tail end of the track introduce blast beats in an interesting way. Then, just when we were putting the kids to bed, Broomin' detours into pure pop like the dreamy decades and the bittersweet Burn Again, flirting with hip-hop.
It's sweet yet satisfying. A tour with these guys warm up a crowd for Model Actress or the Hell Freaks would be a stroke of genius. So let's play a song. This is Plague on Both Your Houses.
Deaf Ears 3 is Red Hook, Postcard from a Living Hell. No idea how I backed into this one. Kerrang, possibly? At any rate, this horror-obsessed Australian four-piece create a genre-defying potpourri of punk sneer and pop melodicism swirled with occasional snappy electronics. Surfing Svengali producer Stevie Knight dials down a bright, colorful mix with wall of sound tendencies that keep the listener guessing. Emmy Mac's uber melodic hooks and psychotic raps are the backbone of the Red Hook sound, albeit combined with hard-hitting power chords and sprightly programming from Craig Wilkinson and the occasional saxophone solo bounding out of nowhere. Lyrics are smart and topical, and the tunes are consistent fodder for crowd surfing.
The alt-pop duet Mac performs with Josh Raven of Perth rockers The Fame may be the greatest song that Avril Lavigne never wrote. The bubbling trade-off between the two, a variable hook orgy. But this is no sweet pop affair. Cuts like the raging Off With Your Head and the riffy Psych versus Psych pack plenty of power chord-laced aggression. Low-budget horror may be the disc's most brilliant, taking on our collective obsession with filming atrocities, sporting razor-sharp wit in lines like poor mental health is an excuse I can't acquit for being such a piece of shit.
Clever, enthralling, and unique. Postcard from a Living Hell is an album that continues to yield reward listen after addictive listen. A surprisingly hard-hitting debut in a year rife with great alt, rock, and metal.
Okay, let's play a song. This is Low Budget Horror. Wow, that one went quick, even with the live stream. Talked about free refills and why you need to get out of the trash can.
We talked about snack cake competitions.
Come at us in the DMs. Which snack cakes are your favorites? Or leave us a comment. Da-da, bum, 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 bum. That graphic is so great. The Krimpet. All the Krimpet.
This has been the Snaggletooth Rock and Roll Podcast. Special thanks to Richard from Tenebre and Phlegma for appearing on the show. Snaggletooth theme courtesy of Jens Kemgren of the Firebombs. Deaf Ears theme by Tim Green of the Fucking Champs. Season 3 artwork courtesy of Casey Angel. You can find him on Instagram, Casey Angel Art. Deaf Ears band this week are huge, and they include Red Hook, Within Temptation, and Blood Command. Get over to Spotify and check them out. All Content 2023, the Snaggletooth Rock and Roll Podcast.
We shall never be more than 50 feet away from a snack.
This is the Snaggletooth Rock and Roll Podcast.